I think if we show up to solve on our calls instead of show up to sell, if we show up to solve in our emails, show up to solve in our DMs, show up to solve in our posts, right? Teach me something, build trust that you have a brain. All I'm prioritizing is revenue. That's it. So I'm looking at who we know, who can talk positively about us, who's well connected, and then how do I hit them? What's the perfect time of day to post on LinkedIn? Well, there is no perfect time of day, because if we knew the perfect time, we would all flood the feed at exactly 8:06 a.m. Eastern.
Today's episode all about sales. Everyone wants to know about sales. We do a show about sales and we put it on YouTube and it gets 5 times the engagement of any other show. We're joined by Sam McKenna. She's a master of social selling, LinkedIn powerhouse, sales consultant, brand builder, and the founder of hashtag Sam Sales. So today
Thanks, Phil.
everybody wants tactical information. We are learning this over and over again. We want to be able to get off this show and go do something that you told us. So we are pumped about this playbook called Expand the Sandbox. And I wrote about it yesterday on LinkedIn, but we're going to get detailed today. It has generated over $1 billion in revenue for her clients. And just over the past few years, I call it the spam cannon. This idea that like very unpersonalized automated outbound is going out, and it has taken the place of relationship building, and it doesn't do it well at all. You stand for the opposite. I stand for the opposite. I'm actually going to make brand one of my content pillars for 2025 because I believe that you need to be focusing your prospecting on people that are not in market, whereas those spam cannons are only focused on people that are, and that's maybe 5% of your total audience. So meanwhile, you're just spamming everybody else. Anyway,
Totally.
Sam, welcome to the show. We're very excited to have you here.
Adam, thank you for having me. Pete, thanks for facilitating our chat today. And Adam, it's like I could not have like paid you more money to say that. You should be going after the people that are not currently in a buying cycle. Like, yes, you should be going after the people that are showing intent in your contact us forms and all of that. But man, pay attention to the people that are in that 30 and 60% that are researching and are going to change one day. Holy hell, will it set you apart?
So there's so much to unpack with that statement, but I think I'm going to ask the first question and then turn it over to Pete. Let's just start with, what are people getting wrong about sales today?
Oh my God. I think everything that's wrong with sales today is that everyone's looking for the latest gimmick, the latest silver bullet. They're throwing tech at every single thing without having any idea how to use it, right? So for those of you who are founders, but also have been in corporate America, think about how often we purchase SalesLoft, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, Outreach, Gong. We have absolutely no idea how the hell to do it, to do anything with it. We don't know how to write cadences, sequences. We don't know what we should be doing in LinkedIn Sales Navigator. For those of you who don't know, I've been a brand ambassador for LinkedIn for quite some time, was an executive leader there. They're our client now for going on almost 5 years. We know it pretty well. But we buy all this technology. We hope for the best. And I think the other thing is we spray and pray. We still do. So I think the norm is to do that, right? To use AI, to use brackets, to hit a button, to chat GPT, and then send out 100,000 different emails right across our organization and hope for the best. When instead, frankly, I'll steal Jen Allen's sales methodology of, if you just give a shit about your buyers and you do some research and you skip level to the boss of the person that you normally sell to, you'd be amazed to see what can happen. I give you some great examples of just a couple of minutes of research, right? And reaching out to people and getting a response. And most of the time, they don't even need anything from you, but they respond and say, thank you so much for just giving a shit, sending an email that was authentic, right? Did some research. We don't need you guys right now, but call us in 6 months. And I'll say one more thing on that. Okay, so respond graciously, which people always get wrong. They don't do. They don't do it. You didn't give me what I wanted, so I'm going to piece the hell out. Oh my God, just say thank you. You got a response, which is the thing that we fight for every single day. And second, just because they don't need you now, they say reach out in 6 months, you have a door open. You've started a conversation. Connect with them on LinkedIn, nurture them, educate, let them learn with you. My God, don't have anybody, or do it yourself, where you set a reminder in 5 months and 3 weeks and say, Adam, it's been 6 months. You want to chat now? Because Adam's going to say, who the fuck are you? And I'm going to say, your question. Sorry.
So I think this is a perfect, so like we're going to talk about expand the sandbox, but that is a perfect segue into this whole idea that you talk about, which is like, show me that you know me in sales, right? And for some reason, Throughout our whole lives, we've heard this phrase, quality over quantity, applied to virtually everything in our lives. But for some reason, sales managers and demand gen managers, it's like they know it, but it slips right past them. So, like, why is show me, you know me? Why is this so important in sales? And like, why are people missing this so badly?
Yeah. So a couple of things. So the methodology of show me, you know me, right, is something we trademarked a few years ago because we've been talking about it so much. And the whole idea, right, is that you show your buyers that you know them, of what their role is responsible for, what their company's doing, what's happening in the press around the vertical. You understand who your buyers are. But outside of all that, it's also that you show them, you know them for the role and the position that they're in, and also who they are as a human, right? So when we have conversations and people tell us that they have quadruplets, they tell us their beagles' names, they tell us where they're going on vacation. Show them you know them. Write that shit down. Ask how it was. Check in on their beagles. Send them a dog bowl. We have branded dog bowls at Sam Sales. They're like 28 cents. They're fantastic. Get those. Send them something. Have it written, done on Etsy. Like, give a shit. But it's so important, right? Because it's what builds those relationships. It builds the rapport between you and the buyer and the clients. And frankly, it also sets you up for the long term of success. I think one interesting thing here, and just a good thread to pull, and then Adam, I'll pass to you, but thinking about who your buyer is and the situations they're in. So I'll give you a really good example that I'll actually post about later today on LinkedIn. They had a rep who, or a buyer, right? He's a new head of sales for an organization. He comes to us, he's changed jobs, he's come to us again, which is great news. And one of the things that he says after he gets our proposal and reviews our pricing is he says, I'm new here, so it still takes me a little bit of work, right, to convince our team to spend money on us. What is he really telling us? How do we show him we know him? We show him we know him of the precarious position that he's in. It's a brand new job. He's trying to establish credibility and his reputation here. So if we say, we also know that you're sticking your neck out for us, that whether or not we do a good job is going to set you up for future success or not so much. The next time you want to ask for money, we won't let you down. We'll go above and beyond. We'll make sure that this kicks some ass for you. That slight thing to just say, we get the position you're in and we're going to show up for you in the right way is huge. But not only do we not teach our reps that, we don't give a shit. The reps will say, that sounds great. Keep us posted. When
So,
can we get another
so
meeting on? Yeah.
do you in your CRM have like a show me, you know me field?
Not only do we, but we also keep a notebook of all the stuff. I have pages of like just pages that are dog names. That's it. So I can refer back and creepily be like, Adam, this is your dog's name. If you have a dog, I should know. I don't know. That's my way to show you I know you know. But then on top of that, we have a whole address book of everything that we've mailed somebody, when we've mailed it, what we've sent them. Have we sent baby gifts before? We don't want to send the send baby gift for their ninth kid. Right? So we keep track of all of that because it's important to us, whether or not anybody ever notices. You guys too?
No, but I want it. So
Uh,
can I ask something related to this? So,
Yeah.
um, okay, so we had Varun from Clay on 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
Great show.
Yeah.
They're awesome, by the way. And like not really for sales because they don't really have sales yet. They have these sales engineers, but like for how the culture of creating a product feedback loop that they have instilled in this company is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So one of the things that Clay does so unbelievably well is that it automates with incredible sort of like I guess you would say personalization, right? It can scrape anything on the web and it can personalize anything in any way. I have this belief that reps actually like need to internalize that something happened,
Mm.
in order to just like keep running the right sales playbook with these really important accounts in their head, right? Whereas like, and this is just observation, you know, the dream of Clay is that all of this is happening until somebody just raises their hand and books a demo. Right? Like where are you, first of all, did I say that? Did I explain that clearly? On one side, there is that. And the idea is like, well, you can replace a million BDRs with this one thing and go to market engineer. And then they'll just feed these AEs that you have. And like on the complete other end, it's like with what it takes to actually get someone's attention and build trust, like the
Yeah.
person kind of needs to know that it's happening, in my opinion. Like, do you have a view on that?
For sure. Yeah. So I think like you can automate all of this stuff, right? Like I think that the messages and the sequences and cadences that we send out is not unlike anything that we've done with like Marketo for years and years, right? Like we ingest you, we find a way to get your contact information, and then we nurture you. It coming from a Sam or an Adam or a John or whoever it may be, like isn't going to make a difference, right? If it's coming out through me, I know you're still going to be able to tell whether it was authentically written or not. That may not be the case in 9 months. It may not be the case in 6 months, right? Like we're teaching AI how to feel and bring emotions and humor and things like that. Now, from my perspective, and this is as a founder, as a CEO, as a former sales executive leader, and as a former top performing rep, you guys, you in marketing, you in sales ops, you in reps, you do all that shit on your own. But don't touch the accounts that are really private. Don't send anything out with my name that I haven't seen. Because one, I don't want to personally ruin my own reputation, right? This is going to be theoretically a long game for me. And I've been at this for 16 years and will continue being at this for a long time. So brand protection and reputation is really, really important to me. I think the other thing, nothing beats the human brain and being able to connect the dots on personal experiences, memories, jokes, humor, sarcasm, etc. So I'll give you just an example, right? Like I've talked about this a couple of times before, but the former CRO at SalesLoft, right? I really wanted to get on his calendar. There's great value that we can drive for SalesLoft's clients. We're already a partner to SalesLoft. So how do I get time on his calendar? I can work my way through the system and ask people to introduce me, or I can just do a little show me you know me, right? So he posted something on LinkedIn. He talked about the inauthenticity of personalization. And I'm like, shit, home run, here we go. And then he talked about how here's what, if reps wanted to get his attention, here's what they would talk to him about. He wrote a couple of things in the post. Somebody else, the CBDO at Seismic, a gentleman by the name of Toby Carrington, was a good friend and commented in there and said, people talk to me all the time. They write in the subject line, I hear you're from Australia. And he's like, yes. And they're like, cool. Do you want to buy my stuff? And he says, no. And it kind of goes like that for a long time. So I put in the subject line, right? I took a quote from the guy's post, and then I put plus Toby is Australian in quotes, plus hashtag Sam Sales, 19 minutes to get a response. And now I get a meeting and I capture somebody's attention because I did the work of somebody who's really hard to get a meeting with. Head of social media for a division of Nike, same exact thing. She posted about how she wears leopard shorts to SoulCycle. Subject line, leopard shorts at SoulCycle plus Sam Sales. I know what that is. I have no idea what the hell Sam Sales is. I'm going to open it. And then I'm like, let me tell you about SoulCycle, how I took clients there, how we wore funky outfits, we went for smoothies afterwards. Who says networking is only on the golf course? Do you want to chat? Give a shit, make an effort, right? It really goes a long way and it doesn't have to be that hard. You don't need AI to replace a million BDRs. You just need to teach people or teach yourself how to have connection and build rapport and have a conversation, which frankly, if you're on the older end of the spectrum, be 44 this summer, ancient over here, you know how to do that. But it's a sliding scale. And if you're 35 or under, you might not know how to do that. It might be a new skill set to have to learn.
Anita has a
Well,
great question. Can we ask this
Yeah.
question and then turn it over to Pete? But is this because Sam is well known as a CEO and an influencer and someone sees her on LinkedIn?
Yeah. And getting the response you mean?
Yes.
Neither of those people had any idea who I was. Like no idea. Even though I was a partner and a partner to SalesLoft, this guy had no idea that I even existed as a human being. And this gal certainly didn't. I follow her. I mean, you can go and see her. I follow her on LinkedIn. I had to think of the name of the platform. I follow her on LinkedIn. Her posts always get like 800 and 900 likes. Like it's crazy, obviously, because of her title. But I will tell you, just think about one other thing. Show the person you know them. Take a look at the posts. So if any of your buyers post content on LinkedIn, take a look at their posts. If you're like Adam and I, this is going to be a different situation. But for executive leaders that share content, something funky really happens. They get 100, 200, 300 likes, but look at the comments. Almost no one talks to them. And I think that that's fascinating. Think of them like you drop them in at a conference, right? They're talking about something, a whole crowd of people comes around and everyone's like, great idea, laughing at them, loving them on the side. That sounds a little pervy. You get it. And what they're doing, right, is they're just giving them like applause, but they're not talking to them. So they might have 6 or 7 or 8 comments, right? And if you look at those comments, guess who the comments are from? Their own individual contributors who want to be seen by the team. So instead, you can get in the conversation and don't say, cool article, man. Go and comment with something meaningful. Show that you have a brain, engage in conversation, and then You can run our Expand the Sandbox playbook that we talk about. But if you even do that, just save some of these people who post content. You'll have a home run win. And I can get around the objection that I bet 106 of you are thinking, which is my buyers don't post content. And we can talk about that as well.
Yeah, we just got two questions in the chat. What about people who
Yeah.
don't post? And I wanted to kind of combine that with another question, which is when you're doing this initial research, I mean, I assume when you're doing lead research, it's a little bit front loaded, right? You're trying to learn about the person. You're trying to, put it into a system of record, usually a CRM or spreadsheet, to just have that down. What about people who don't post, or like how much time and what other, avenues do you explore to show them that you know them?
Yeah, I would say one, just let's address the timing perspective, right? So it might be hard to find this research, think of what to say, et cetera. I would tell you, get ready for the gasps that we want here. I would tell you, give yourself 30 minutes a person that you want to reach out to. Just do it. Commit to sending 10 or 15 emails a week. That's the only thing you're going to do. Make sure the title is worth it. So if you're reaching out to marketing manager Susie, at Oracle, maybe reach out to her skip level or his skip level, right? Go big. These people are spammed with emails. So if you instead stand out, and I promise you, none of the emails they're getting are show me you know me. None of the emails we get are show me you know me. Probably because people are terrified to actually try, and then us be like, what is this garbage? Which we would never do, by the way. I'd be so kind to you. But start there. So make sure it's the right person. Second thing is you'll learn how to do this at scale, right? So you'll learn what works, right? How you find information. You'll start to spend 5 to 7 minutes on an email, right? Same as running a mile. It's going to look like shit today and it's going to look really good in a year. Keep it up. The other thing is, right, you can pull quotes, especially for senior leaders. So like go, if you wanted to get in front of the senior leadership at LinkedIn, go and see what their CEO Ryan is talking about. Go and see what Dan Shapiro, their COO, is talking about. Pull a quote from there, relate it to their business and how you can solve a challenge. Use that and send it to every C-suite of a division head across the departments you want to get in front of. You can scale Show Me You Know Me and still make it authentic, like you've actually done your research. The other thing that I would say, and I'll get to what if they don't post content in a second, but consider this, right? If you said, I want to get in front of Sam. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to ChatGPT and I'm going to say, give me like 3 bullets on her latest podcast that she dropped today. We launched a podcast, 4th episode dropped today with the great grandson of William Howard Taft, who is a really big deal at Baird Financial, for any of you guys who know that. Find the bullets, use the bullets in your subject line, see if you can score a meeting. You don't even have to listen to much of the podcast, like 17 seconds of the piece there. And if I respond to take a meeting, then say, oh shit, okay, no, I have to go listen to it. Do your long form homework after you actually get the meeting so that you can actually show up prepared. But tons of different ways you can scale this, right? Where the people that I think are going to win in the future aren't the ones who use AI to automate. They're the ones who are going to use AI to scale their learning and their understanding of what the clients are going through, and then use that to bridge it with their authenticity, humor, brain, etc. If they're not posting on LinkedIn, I would tell you 2 things. I think Adam can be just a great guide point for you guys of what it takes, how to build a presence on LinkedIn. It doesn't happen overnight, right? And Adam would tell you, as I would tell you, it is a shitload of work to do this, right? But posting your content for other people to see you is a great start. And second, they're decision makers. They're people in the cycle of their decision makers, right? And their buying groups are on LinkedIn. They might be reading, they might be posting, they might be engaging in the comments. So go engage with them as well. And if you can't find that, go and find where they're on podcasts and articles, find that stuff or where their skip level is, and then pull those quotes. There's no excuse to not do it, right? There's just different avenues and mediums based on what they do and don't do.
Will you also prioritize folks who you can find information on, right? Because if you have 1,000 people and some have a big social presence, others don't, does that just kind of make it into your outreach bucket based on what you can?
Yeah, and actually, I get even more tactical than that. So, if you're thinking about it, like let's just take it from the ground level. Let's say you are a founder, but you've just started your company. You have, I don't know, three clients, maybe a board member or an advisor or 2. What I would tell you to do, biggest piece of technology to invest in, spend a whopping $1,000 on LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and I would start your prospecting there. I will shamelessly self-promote our LinkedIn prospecting playbook, which is on our site, shorts.samsalesconsulting.com. It is a masterclass in exactly how to use Sales Navigator. My biggest frustration with this platform that is so beloved to me is that nobody knows how to use it. How the hell they've made $1 billion of revenue out of a platform that nobody knows how to use as a masterclass in product marketing? Because holy moly! But go and check that out. And I would say, like, look at the common connections, the connections that your board members, your clients, et cetera, have. Your clients, 3 clients who have already spent money with you, can probably advocate, hopefully, of what it's like to work with you. So go and ask them for introductions, run referral plays, and then you do that over and over and over and over again. You don't really need to make an effort, just ask for introductions. The other thing that I would say on that, the way that we run referrals tends to not be the right way. So here's what I mean. When we talk to clients, they say we do referrals, and I say, tell me how. And they say, we wait for the inbound to come in. And we're like, great work. Not quite the same thing. Or then they say, we do proactively ask for referrals, and they say, how? Here's how they do it. Hey, Adam, can you think of anybody that could use Sam Sales? And Adam's like, I think you're great. Not right now, but I'll keep you in mind. Not off the top of my head, but I'll keep you in mind. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Adam's going to keep me in mind. And then 16 seconds later, he's off to happy hour and he's not keeping me in mind, right? So I burn that ability. I've now wasted both of our times while I'm waiting with bated breath for him to make an introduction that's probably never going to come. So instead, what I would say is, Adam, you've used our services. He hasn't, but let's pretend he has. Use our services. You think we're peachy keen. There's probably people in your network who could use us. One, would you be comfortable making referrals for us or advocating for us? We'd love to. I love you guys. That sounds great. Thanks so much. Can I take a peek at your LinkedIn network? And can I send you a handful of names of people you're connected to that I'd love to meet? That sounds great. Well, what if you send Adam all these names and there's nobody he knows because his LinkedIn network is filled with all these people he doesn't know? Cool. So here's what I would say. Number one, prioritize your top ranking executives first. Number two, look for people who have previously worked with Adam if you can find any of those crossover connections. And number three, send 10 to 15 names. And when Adam looks at that email and he's like, 10 to 15 names, you're out of your mind, you can say, I'm making one ask for you to look through 10 to 15 names and find 2 people, hopefully, that you know well enough and have a relationship with that you could introduce me to. And odds are, Adam's going to say, I know 5 or 6 of these people. And you're going to say, great, I ghost wrote an email for you to send in whatever language you want. Thank you so much. Bonus points for sending that email to Adam on a Saturday or Sunday when he has a little less competition for his time and he might be more willing to click through these links on his phone while he's at whatever he's at.
Do you have this referral play written down anywhere?
We do, yeah. The referral play is in our show me, and actually, the referral play is in our prospecting playbook. It's in there. So two
Is
birds,
there
one
is there
stone.
is there a URL that I can type in and get it and drop it in
Yeah,
the chat, or is it
I'm gonna give it to you right now.
you have access to the chat too, by the way. This is great. So one thing I've been thinking this entire time is like we have a PLG product with our B2B, but like I think you should always be doing outreach to your Dream 50 or Dream 100.
I
Go
just
ahead. Yeah.
wanted to mention because I've heard sales masters have very similar pieces of advice, which is great because it all seems to jive together. It seems like the one villain of this whole strategy is like FOMO. But like, Sam, what about the 40,000 other people I just exported from Apollo? What about from my Dream 100? What about the 60 that never post? And I know what I would say to that. I would say, well, don't focus on those. Focus on the ones that you can actually like get a win on. But yeah, is that something you hear commonly from your clients who are high volume folks who then get approached with this low volume, high quality tactics that you?
I've never heard the FOMO piece, but I would say, like, let's say you sent this beautiful spam cannon, as Adam calls it, and all 40,000 wrote you back tonight, and they were like, "Oh my God, thank God you reached out. I can't wait to buy your stuff." What would you do? Like, you wouldn't have capacity for that, right? So unless you just hire your own sales team and call it a day, you wouldn't have the time for that. So prioritize the I don't even prioritize the logos I want to go after. All I'm prioritizing is revenue. That's it. So I'm looking at who we know, who can talk positively about us, who's well connected, and then how do I hit them, right, with the opportunity to get those referrals, right, or find lookalike clients, and then go after those. If this worked really well for one particular product or division or size of company, could it work exactly the same way as well? Can we say we worked with a company that has 300 sellers, looks just like you, has these challenges? If those are the same, we can probably help you. That's all I care about. I will say too, like, the fear of show me, you know me, the fear of quality over quantity is we keep having this thing in the back of our heads that says it's a numbers game, numbers game, numbers game. If anybody watched White Lotus this weekend, they said it's a numbers game. And I was like, oh, man. Anyway,
Wait,
different.
there's a new season of White
I
Lotus?
Oh my
Oh
God. Do you live in a
new
cave?
season.
oh
Yes.
my
Oh my
God.
gosh. It was
I gotta
Sunday.
tell Helen.
There
I
was a
gotta tell
different deal he
her.
was trying to close, but we'll just leave that there. Anyhow, so it's not, to me, it is a numbers game to a degree, but at the end of the day, quality, if you just put yourself in the buyer's shoes, and I think this is what we're exceptionally lacking in terms of talent as sellers. We think about ourselves. We don't think about what it's like to be in the buyer's shoes. So for instance, I read this terrible piece of advice today that I'm sure will ruffle some feathers on our call, but it said to send blank connection requests to the executives that you're trying to get in front of on LinkedIn. Here's what happened. So, Adam, I'm looking at my connection requests today, and in basically 24 hours, I'm at 239. How many have you gotten in the last couple of days? Couple hundred?
Um, I have let's see. Sorry, I'm just clicking it right now. Well, I have 8,196 pending. So I,
Adam, you need
yeah.
you need our you need our LinkedIn executive branding content strategist. You need somebody on our team to help you with that stuff out. This is just a sales pitch. See, I got on a podcast just to pitch Adam.
Yeah,
Here's the
that that
thing.
that that is judo right there.
That would be a good sales playbook to write about. Get invited so you can
Uh,
pitch the podcast host. But consider this, right? So let's say you're one of those, right? And let's say you're like, Adam's never accepted my connection request, and let's say it's blank. You and 8,000 other people are blank, right? There's probably 100 in there that's like, Adam, really love your stuff. This post is inspiring. Love your podcast, whatever the hell it is. So I would tell you, if you're going to be different, stand out. The blank connection request is going to make you just like everybody else. Why the fuck would you want to be like everybody else? Make an effort, give a shit, right? Write a handwritten note in the connection request. So I think that that's one of the things. The whole idea of quality over quantity, it's not actually a numbers game because if you just keep sending this stuff out, you're just going to look like everybody else. The same thing with Show Me You Know Me. So if you look at this, the effort that it takes to do Show Me You Know Me, one, we see an average open rate of 43% on those emails. It's usually way higher. And the other thing that we see is an average response rate of just around 20%. And when you look at normal emails, it's a 6% open rate and just under a 1% response rate. So who cares if you only send out 50 emails or 100 emails this week? If it means 43 of those emails will get opened, right? And 20 of those emails will get responded to. And maybe only 2 of them will say yes, but 18 more will say not right now, great effort, etc. Then what can you do? If you're targeting the right people, you're really going to set yourself up for success. I will say one more thing on this. The reason that we think about it as a numbers game is again because those numbers are so low in terms of conversion. So we think if instead of sending 1,000 emails, if I only send 100 and I only get 6 of them open and 1 responded to, what if it's a no? I'll have wasted my time. If you again just look at the opposite and do that quality approach, go skip level, right? Email the Ryans of the world at LinkedIn, email the scary titles, that you would kill to have a meeting with. Just see what happens. I will say another shameless promotion, but look at our Show Me You Know Me playbook on our website. It teaches you what to say, how to write sequences, like all of that stuff, so that you don't trip up and learn a little bit more efficiently.
I love that. Christoph says, be unconventional. I couldn't agree more. We get a lot of, even some questions like in the chat itself about what should the message look like. I would love to see a message. I've been joking for the better part of a year that everyone's looking for the magic email template. And I'm like, if the magic email template existed, we would all know about it. Like it would not be a secret. I wrote a LinkedIn post recently. It was like, I just created a cold email guide. This is why it's not going to help you at all. I think you have finally closed the loop on that thing I've been running with, which is like the magic email template is the one that shows them that you know them. And that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Some
I'll
people might
say
be,
like, yeah,
um,
I'll say, oh, go ahead. Yeah.
no, sorry. You finish your thought.
I was going to say 2 things on that. Like what's the magic email? If we'd figured it out, we're going to send it. Same thing with the question that we get. What's the perfect time of day to post on LinkedIn? Well, there is no perfect time of day because if we knew the perfect time, we would all flood the feed at exactly 8:06 a.m. Eastern. And then there'd be a ton of traffic. There's no perfect time. So it's go where your buyers are, right? If you're trying to reach buyers in EMEA and you're posting at 5 o'clock Pacific, probably not going to have a lot of success. Go where your buyers are. But on the email template, I'll give you a really quick breakdown on this and I'll talk fast in interest of time. But one, subject line, nothing matters more than your subject line plus that preview text. So if I get a subject line, it's like leading sales training company. Hi, Sam. Hope this finds you well. I'm going to set myself on fire. Just kidding. I'm going to hit delete and I'm going to move on and hit delete on all the other emails that look like that. So subject line, write a really funky subject line. Write what I talked about, up there. Look at my profile. Write something about Switzerland, the inordinate amount of speeding tickets that I've gotten, plus your company name. I'll open the email and then just say, came across your profile. I wanted to reach out. I had to reach out, listen to your podcast, whatever it is. Jump right into the show me, you know me. The second thing you need to think about is a transition. So people do this really weirdly in the email. They're like, oh my God, Pete, loved your podcast. Have to tell you about this. Love puppies. Companies like yours are reaching out to us every day to solve this challenge. And you're like, wait, I'm sorry. We were just talking about puppies. And now all of a sudden companies solving a challenge. You need a transition. While I could talk about puppies or whatever the hell it is all day, the real reason I'm reaching out is X. Then it's not what you do. Please, for the love of God, do not tell anybody what you do. It's the problem that you solve. So what issue do they have? Is it a pipeline issue? Do they have low usage on Sales Navigator? Do they need to build voices on LinkedIn for their executives that they don't know how to do it? What's the challenge they have? And then how you solve it. But let me give you an example. So if I send an email and I said, I suspect as a modern tech company, I suspect you have tons of licenses to LinkedIn Sales Navigator and you have no idea how to use it, or your adoption rate is low. The reason for that is that your teams typically learn how to use the platform, but not how to use the platform to sell. So when I write that, they're like, yes, I have that challenge. That sounds right. But what I need to think about is what's the hidden or forthcoming objection. The hidden or forthcoming objection is what they're saying at LinkedIn. We don't need you. Delete. You may have pays us to train their sales teams. Hang on. LinkedIn is paying you to train their sales teams and we're paying LinkedIn to train us. Why don't we just hire you? I'm like, what's the goddamn point of this email? Just kidding. I would never. But and what are they objecting to? Because I promise you, they will not say we have a LinkedIn CSM. They will just delete your email and then you're going to be in follow-up purgatory, which is going to suck. So that's the perfect email to me. Now, there's going to be a lot of objections in the brains of you guys right now. And one of that is going to be, that sounds like a really long email. I was told shorter is better. I was told I had to write it to look like an F. I don't know where the hell that came from. I was told that it needs to be under 50 words. I was told the subject line can only be 6 words. You need to remember that you are selling to human beings, right? This isn't a robot that's looking at your email and deciding whether or not to open it and respond. You're selling to human beings. And I will tell you, if you write a short email, saw you're hiring, I bet a challenge you have is this, up for more of a chat. If they get 10 emails that look just like that, because everybody was taught to write the same way, what are they going to say? Yes to 10 of those emails for 30 minutes, for 300 minutes? Not a shot in hell. They're going to spend 60 seconds reading the full breadth of your email and deciding whether or not time with you is well spent. And I'll tell you the last part about that. As you write these emails and you send this out, whether it's you yourself, it's a founder, it's a sales rep, it's whoever, one thing you need to consider is before they probably respond to your email, they want to see who the hell you are. Are you a bot? Are you AI? Are you an AI BDR? Are you a human being? And so if you haven't paid attention to your LinkedIn profile and what you actually look like, what you communicate, what your value is, who your connections are, if you haven't done that, if that's a hot mess of like a dating profile from the 90s, it's time to spruce that bad boy up. The second guest that we had on our podcast was Danny Dunn, who's the Chief Revenue Officer of Morningstar Financial in Chicago. If you are looking to get Danny Dunn's attention, go listen to his podcast. There's some really good show me, you know me in there. But he says exactly that. Like every so often, somebody cuts through the noise of my inbox. I think I want a meeting with them and I go to their profile. And if their profile sucks, I'm not meeting with them. He said it a little bit more elegantly than I did, but it matters. So pay attention to that.
We're going to get into that whole like what does somebody need to show up correctly on LinkedIn to really close that gap? By the way, I was getting some those messages that my mic wasn't coming through good. If it's better now, okay, amazing. Okay, so
It's
we're gonna
louder
get
now.
into that along with the expand my sandbox in just a second, but it is time for the namesake of the show segment. Uh, I have one announcement. So to start, please raise your hand if you have your camera on and you're ready to get advice from Adam, Sam, and myself, if I can, on how to get unstuck. Dave already raised his hand. Dave, you have your camera on? You can just drop it into the chat. While we're doing that, Dave, if you could pull up your, or if you could drop in your URL, camera's ready. You could drop in your URL for your company. That will also let us, let folks kind of see what exactly you're doing. But we would love to call you up. John's gonna promote you to a panelist, and we're gonna give you 5 minutes to tell us what you do. I also just want to also add for next week, if you want to be a part of this segment, I'm dropping in a Google form. Please fill out that form. The goal of this is to have just be able to better vet and bring on people who hopefully have some problems that are more broadly applicable, so everyone can find value in this segment. That is all for me. Dave, welcome.
Hey, all
Great to
right. Can
meet
y'all
you.
hear me okay?
We can. You're
We
coming through loud
can.
and clear.
Awesome. Pete, Adam, first of all, long time listener, first time caller. Super excited to be here today, man. This is super cool. Sam, what an amazing presentation.
Oh,
And
thanks.
like as I was listening to you, I'm like, oh my God, like she's like preaching to the converted. It's so cool.
Thank you. Thanks for the
So
kind words.
yeah, so I'm a nine-time entrepreneur. And I've, built a bunch of different companies in the space, and I was actually going out and thinking about how do I let people know about the cool things that I'm building? And I don't know about you, but like I deeply believe like relationships are what it's all about. And so to hear you talking about this, Sam, today was like I was like, if I don't raise my hand, I'm gonna die. Like I'm gonna miss my opportunity. What I found was after sending about 20 emails to people who I know, after doom scrolling LinkedIn and looking for all the right people and getting caught into the wackiest of debates, and then realizing I have not sent a single outreach, I realized, wait a minute, what if you could use AI? And so what I built, and we're just in closed beta right now, is a company called Warm Start. And the category here, it's about thinking about outreach, not in the traditional way. You want to do cold outreach, that's great. But what Warm Start is a new category, warm outreach. And the idea here is you have people in your network who know you and love you, who you have just forgotten to reach out to for literally years. They're people you used to work with. They're people who are former partners. They're people who are friends. They're people who are doing interesting things in the industry and who maybe you've connected with. They've already heard about you. So let's skip the whole 7 touches. Let's actually just go and retouch the people who already know you and love you and who you just haven't been talking to. And what I did was I built this thing. It goes into your email, connects with your email, and it literally builds a dossier on every single human being who you have ever contacted or who has ever contacted you. Uses AI to summarize all of those emails and contacts and information. Oh, and then it figures out what their social media is for between 40 to 70% of those people. Again, without you having to do a thing. And it pulls in what's their latest information on LinkedIn? What have they been doing? What have they been posting about? Have they been commenting? Okay, so now you get this dossier. It's always updated on thousands of people. All that's fun. Now comes the real cool part. So you can do personalized outreach campaigns that uses AI to also qualify who would be the right person to hear your message at the right time. So in fact, the reason why we have 96 customers right now and we're in closed beta is because I use Warm Start to sell Warm Start. So I go out and I send, so here's what we do. We also train your an LLM on your sent folder. So it starts to listen and talk like me. But most important of all, we never, ever, ever send an email without me being able to, or you obviously, without the person being able to explicitly review, edit, and either delete or send. Because you know what? To your point, Sam, right? We can tell AI written emails really easily. So add in that thing about what what you just read or saw, or talk a little bit about the relationship that you had. But what we're doing here is we're bringing back in that human element because you know what? We are amazingly good when we're reminded of who we know, and we're terrible at recalling who we know. So at its heart, that's the fundamental intuition is be able to get in contact with those people, stay up to date with all of them so you don't have to be traipsing and reading all of their social media. It's brought right back to you. And then reach out to them just at the right time with the right message that's personalized in your voice. And that's Warm
Thank
Start.
you, Dave. We got to cut you off. Sam, what do you think about this? What is your
I love it.
initial?
I love it. And I have some product updates. I have some product feature requests for you, but I love it
Please.
on first blush.
What what are the product feature requests?
I think you can use AI to also just look at the strength of the relationship, how long you've been connected, all the DMs you've exchanged. We just found someone like this, also profile views. So if you can scrape that, tell me somebody who I've been connected with for a long time, who has been recently promoted, who looked at my profile, who I've just completely forgotten of the 111,000 people that follow me on LinkedIn and leverage those for me because that's a problem. That's a challenge, right? So it'd be a perfect email. It's a challenge I just had today, right? It's like, there's all these great intent signals. How do we stay on top of them? And how do we not say, I saw you looking at my profile, but how do we say instead, here's something that can help you that I just wrote about. Hope it's helpful. And the person's like, oh my God, I was just on your site. Which I would know because I use RB2B. Or I just looked at your profile view and I'd be like, I know because I look at those every single day. My team does. But take that, use AI to scrape that, and then tell me the 17 people I should pay attention to this week because that's all I have capacity for. I would love that.
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
And our goal here, by the way, is every morning you get 10 pre-written drafts that are like and our clients call them the Glengarry leads. Like they get them and they just customize it 15 minutes a day and you're done with your prospecting for the day and you can get on to do all the other things you need to do as a busy executive.
So
Perfect.
can I ask one question
Please.
for 10-second response? Because we're running out of time here. So like how are you different from Ample Market, Unify, GTM Warmly? These
Yeah. So those things are great. They're all cold outreach. So like you've never met those people. They don't know you. They're like you're sort of spamming them as the SDR tool. Great. You want to keep doing those things? Marvelous. I don't trust my relationships to some spammy SDR tool. This is for the people who already know you, who you've already met, who have already heard about you, but you just haven't talked to in a really long time.
All right. So does anybody want a demo with Dave? Here we go. Put it in the chat. Yes, please, so that Dave can follow up with you. There we go. They're rolling in. Yes, yes. Let's go. Yes, yes, yes. This is what it's all about. Live selling, baby. Home shopping network, B2B, right here. And we also do our thing where if you get above 66% who say yes, you get a swag box. If you get above 33%, you get one piece of swag. I recommend with your one piece of swag, you get the new edition RB2B hoodie. We're going to we're gonna give you, Sam, you get a whole swag box, by the way, for being a guest. Yeah.
Very excited.
Cool. Dave, thanks for coming up. I'm glad we
Great
booked
to
you a
meet you,
bunch of
Dave.
demos. I hope you close a lot of revenue off of it. And that was a very good pitch.
Great to
Absolutely.
meet
And
you.
I would love.
Oh.
Well, what would Dave
Drop it in the
love?
chat, Dave. Drop
Dave,
it in the
finish it
chat.
up in the comments. What would you
Stay in
love?
touch, Dave.
All right, let's move right along because we're crunched a little bit. So we're gonna use that as the unfuck my startup plus the pitch slap this week, so that Sam can tell us all about expand my sandbox. Hopefully, everybody can see my screen here. This is Sam's post from 5 days ago, outlining exactly what expand my sandbox is. So let's just line through these 7 steps. We got 12 minutes left, so we'll try to be efficient, but this is what we've all been waiting for.
Cool. So, couple of things here. This is basically where we go spear fishing for our most interesting leads, right? So only so much time of the day, right? No FOMO here. We're just going after the people that we really, really want to tackle, basically. So the one thing that's tough, right? We talked about looking for your buyers that actually post content on LinkedIn. One of the product features I would love for LinkedIn Sales Nav to have is to show you who's actually posting authentic content versus done through an auto share platform or reposted. Because if you guys use LinkedIn Sales Navigator and you go and look at a lead list you've created and then click on the posted in the last 30 days tab, you're going to see a ton of people who haven't actually posted content. It's just crappy stuff, but they're in that, right? Needle in a haystack. There are tons of people who actually post real, authentic thought leadership and content, right? The Adams, the Sams, the this person of the world, which I'll tell you exactly who this was. So you'll get access to the big secret of who was this person. So here's something we did. One of the things that we do is we monitor a bunch of podcasts that we love, newsletters that we love, like I listed here, and we say, who are the guests? Easy, show me, you know me. Let's look and see what they're talking about, and let's see if they post content on LinkedIn. So there used to be a really wonderful blog that LinkedIn did called How I Sell, which I've referenced here. And every single time an executive leader got interviewed for this podcast, which I think is being, or this blog, which I think is being sunset, we'd go and we'd do this exact play. Who are they? Can we sell to them? Would they be interesting to us? Do they post on LinkedIn? Read the play, and the person featured in this blog was a woman by the name of Joy Wilder DeBeer, and she was the CRO of Equifax. Bright red hair, full of personality, Southern Belle, super, super accomplished executive. And I can say that this is Joy because she knows it's her. And the cat was out of the bag after she became a client. So found her on this blog, went to see if she posts content on LinkedIn, send her a connection request right away. And I said, loved your piece in the blog about this. Really resonates with me, XYZ. Used up my full character count, sent her a request. She responded and she said, thanks, period. And I said, what the hell do I do with this, period? Just kidding. I know exactly what to do. And I just said, thanks for connecting. Great to be connected. That's it. Then I pop her in a list in LinkedIn Sales Navigator. And when she posts next time, I get an alert. I go and I check this list, top 50, top 100 prospects. So when she posts, I go and drop in a comment. She posted about an African safari. She posted about her daughters in New York. She posted about loving Alice and Olivia, the designer. Absolutely nothing to do with her work. Gave me a great opportunity to just connect. And so then what I did, engaged twice. And then I sent another connection, another DM, and I said, hey, literally this. I wonder if we could bend your ear on how we could improve your LinkedIn presence. We build the brands and the whole strategy for a ton of executives just like you, for Fortune 500 companies to Series A founders alike. Would love to talk to you. She responded same day, literally that afternoon, and that's what she said, was what I mentioned earlier. She said, I'm happy to connect you with the top two people on my marketing team. I think it took maybe 13 collective minutes of prospecting, like it says here, right? We got a meeting, we got the whole night thing done, and then we closed a deal for almost $100,000 just off of this. I've closed deals with LinkedIn doing this exact same thing, right? I closed deals with Oracle, with Salesforce, with Alphabet doing this exact same thing. It's not hard. You just need to be, who said it earlier, unconventional. You need to be unconventional, right? You need to do all the shit that no one else is doing. Well, everybody else does those Sam McKennas. Well, they send out 1,000 emails where they spend $50,000 or $500,000 to show up at Dreamforce or whatever it is. Don't do any of that. Put your money in this, right? And if you have a great website, if you have a great value proposition, if you have a great LinkedIn profile, go and spend time and effort here because it'll pay off. And go for those scary titles. Go for the CRO of Equifax. Don't waste your time with the marketing manager. They're all lovely and we want to meet them and we want to build our relationships with them. But when you only have a certain amount of time to prospect, go in for the kill.
And I think too, like you had mentioned it before, but really remembering how people read and respond to sales emails. They don't read the whole thing.
Yeah.
Actually, what they're trying to do, and the more senior you get, the more well-trained these people have been on marking as read or just ignoring altogether or deleting. Like you gotta stair step your way into them digesting the content itself.
Totally.
I always joke that I'm like an elite mark is read. But yeah,
I think the other thing I would tell you is like it's the way I tell you that success story, it sure as hell isn't that easy normally, right? And so one other thing that I would advocate for you to do, especially for all of you who are founders and who are hustling nights and weekends, just consider this. Like when you send that connection request to that person that is your end all be all, again, these are only hacks because LinkedIn's product doesn't do the bare bones things that it should do. But when you send those connection requests, right? If I was hell bent on closing a deal with Pete and Pete's worth my time, what I would do is I would change one of the words that I typically send in my connection request. So maybe I normally say chat or speak or connect or whatever. And instead for Pete, I'm going to say the word conversation. If you're ever up for a conversation, let me know. And so what I'm going to do with that is on Friday night, on Saturday morning, on Sunday night, Sunday morning, I'm going to go back in, I'm going to go in my inbox and I'm going to search for the word conversation. I'm going to find Pete and 17 other people, right, that I've sent that conversation to text recently. And I'm going to do something that I call bubble hunting. So if you go into your LinkedIn inbox right now, and you're going to see a bunch of people there, and you're going to see some people with no bubbles. You're going to see some people with green bubbles with a white bubble in the center. And then you're going to see some people with green filled in bubbles. Green filled in bubbles means they're on a desktop and their LinkedIn browser is open. They're online. I'm looking for those people. And on nights and weekends, that's when I'm going to send them a nurture. I'm going to say, I was listening to your podcast again, and this really stuck out. I'm going to share this with my team. Just wanted to say thank you. This is something we really practice at Sam Sales, and we teach Show Me You Know Me to our sales teams. Psst, we teach Show Me You Know Me. Do you want to hire us? That was basically the play that I ran with LinkedIn when the woman wrote back and said, what's Show Me You Know Me and how can you train our teams? And I was like, oh my God, thanks for asking. Right. But again, it doesn't have to be hard. You just have to think about it strategically. Don't email everybody at 8 a.m. on Monday. No one gives a shit about you at 8 a.m. on a Monday, right? Email them on Sunday night when they're like sick of their families and planning for the week. I'm sure nobody is, but
I also want to
I
highlight like you
yeah,
do such a great job at having like once you do all the research up front, you get people's attention. Now once you've gotten their attention, you do such a great job at like having things for them to engage with on your website and to continue digging deeper into the ideas to see if they actually resonate with people. I'm
yeah.
starting to think you're the only one doing sales and everyone else is just spamming, to be honest. So that's where I'm at.
Honestly, I want people to learn. I want to be of value to them at the end of the day. Like even if they don't work with us, even if they go somewhere else, right? I want to make positive impact however we can. And I think if we show up to solve on our calls instead of show up to solve, we show up to solve in our emails, show up to solve in our DMs, show up to solve in our posts, right? Teach me something, build trust that you have a brain, right? And that again, buying from you or time with you will be well spent. Adam, what were you going to say?
I was gonna say that was just amazing, like the whole rest of this talk. um a lot of the most impactful piece of content I've listened to over the past like 3 or 4 weeks, it's been Clay talking about their insane customer discovery process that they still run. It's these Fixer AI guys who built this in-inbox tool talking about how to build one feature. They watched 120 hours of EAs sorting emails, right? Just to build an email sorting feature. It's Alex Hermosi talking about how he did 19 edits of his second book, right? He literally said like, if people knew how hard I worked on this, they wouldn't think it was that great, right? So just the whole time you're talking, it's like, of course that is what works. It's just like it's not hard. It's just above and beyond what anyone else is willing to do, you know? And
Yeah.
like, of course, that is what is working in the world today. And thank you for sharing all of that stuff with all of us. I dropped your LinkedIn URL into the chat so that people
Thanks.
can follow you. How else? I'll do it again. I just put it in there. How else can people reach you and learn from you? I know you got a bunch of great stuff on your website. Like, what's the best way?
Yeah, for free. You've got our YouTube video, our so go and subscribe to our YouTube. Our newsletter comes out every Friday, packed with tangible, actionable stuff, and always discounts on all the things that we're doing. For not so free, our shorts and our playbooks are there. It's a huge business for us. Thousands and thousands of people have bought our playbook. So go and check them out. We have a refund policy anytime within 48 hours. So if you're like, this blows, you'd be our first, but we'd be happy to refund your money. So no risk to you there. And then go check out our podcast. And actually, one more thing for free, webinars that we do every single month. And then we have a women's leadership group with about 1,100 gals in there, totally free, never recorded, safe space to just learn and figure out your way in the world. So come and hang out if you're a CMO or a 21-year-old who has no idea what the hell you're doing. We'd love to have you.
Especially important in SaaS and founders, or SaaS sales founders. They're male dominated, and I'm glad you're breaking the mold there.
We're an all-women team of 19, so we love the ladies over here. We're an equal opportunity employer. I will say, we just haven't found a boy that can cut it yet. Oh, just kidding.
By the way, our executive team is 6 people, and 50% of them are women. And I think our company is it may be above 50% women. I'm not sure.
I love it. Way to go.
And I think it's great. So obviously, but it's not because they're women. It's because they're total badasses. And if you were on the Diana Ross episode, she is on our executive team, and she sort of is, wired very similar.
I hope it's the Diana Ross that you have on your.
It is the Diana, the singer. It is the singer. Is the singer.
She might be dead, actually, but anyway.
Well,
and on a high note.
Yeah, I'm so glad you came on. I've been badgering you to come on the show for like 8 months now. We finally did it. We're a lot better at hosting than we were when I originally asked, so I'm glad it took this long. We're not great yet, though. We're getting better every episode. So thank you so much. Somebody asked how they get into this. Where is the Women's Network? Where do they find that?
Yeah. Just pop to our website, samsalesconsulting.com, and then go to events, and you'll see the registration. It's called Who Runs the World. But you'll see the registration there, and then you'll also get signed up for our newsletter if you sign up there. And then under Contact Us, there's the newsletter sign up. But again, you'll learn something every week. We've got lots of pop culture and humor in there as well. So hopefully you'll enjoy that too.
Perfect.
Thanks, guys.
Clem also dropped in the link to the women's group, which is awesome. Sam, thank you so much. This has been one of my favorite episodes, easily. Folks, next week we have Wes Bush. He's the CEO and founder of Product Led. SaaS CEOs basically hired his team to scale their PLG motion to 8 figures plus. To date, he's generated over $1 billion in self-serve revenue for his clients. Hopefully, he's as much of a badass as Sam. Tough shoes to fill here.
Doubt it.
Tough shoes.
Sorry, Wes.
Thank you all. Recording live on YouTube tomorrow. We'll drop the link. Thank you all. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure. Thank you, guys. Bye.
This post, I have to be honest, Adam, I kind of felt like you on LinkedIn. I'm like, oh my God, this is what Adam must feel like with all this engagement that he gets. So I posted this last week. First, let's talk about the post itself. 841 comments, about 500 likes or so. I'm like, oh, Adam Robinson. You might as well call me Eric Robinson.